verbal communication.
Yes, what we prefer to see is when we're responding back to an RFP is allow us to communicate verbally, either by phone, either in person, conference call, what have you, but sometimes we're restricted by email-only communication.
One of my biggest pet peeves about the RFP process, something that I don't think works well at all, is when there is an overly structured process that kind of mirrors the government proposal type scenario, where the aim is to make sure that all vendors have the exact equal opportunity, to the point where you're really limiting conversations and communications. Vendors cannot contact except for the consultant, and they only have a certain opportunity or forum to get their questions answered, and then that's it. I think that if people want to come in and spend more time finding out more information about you, let them. It's going to do you much better when they either decide that it's not a good fit, or they give you a much better proposal that's exactly what you want. So.
Yeah, well, I think it's reasonable for the organization to ask for written questions. I think that's fine, and I think I'd probably do the same thing. I don't like the idea of not being able, being restricted from calling. Now, of course, trying to put myself in the association's shoes, you also don't want to get 50 different calls from salespeople who, maybe have only reviewed part of it, then they call again. I get the idea there. So just a couple weeks ago, I was on what I thought was a very successful call with all the vendors that an organization hosted, and that's not altogether uncommon or something you haven't heard of. What I thought was unique, what they did was, first of all, they introduced themselves and everybody that was there. They introduced all the players that contributed to the requirements in the RFP, spent 10 or 15 minutes going through and summarizing in their own words what their goals were, some of which was a repeat of what was written, others provided a little more insight, which I thought was really valuable. And then they said to everybody on the call, here are the organizations we have with us. They asked everybody to introduce themselves by name and organization name, and then really had a discussion, understanding that the competitors would know who the other competitors were, which I thought was unique, but also I thought was valuable because, to me, they're saying this is an open process. We want to gain the most value from whatever we select, and we're not going in with any preconceived notions.